Patrick Paul, chairman of DKMS in India, and today was the event of a donor, Swati, and the patient, Anandu. A patient suffered on aplastic anemia, and Swati donated blood stem cells to him to cure and to save his life. So today was a special day because Anandu was depending on a blood stem cell donor. It was very difficult to find Swati, but in the end, Swati donated stem cells to this young boy, and this was the only chance to cure him. Swati, as a lifesaver, now is happy to brought her own life. She just became mother to a son 4 months ago.
ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಂಟು ಸಫಲವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಈ ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಂದರ್ಭ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ 2 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಡೋನರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೇಷಂಟು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಡೋನರ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಡೋನರ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈ ವಿಷಯ ನಾವು ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಥರ ಎಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅನಿಮಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಮಾರಕ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಯಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ಣ ರೂಪವಾಗಿ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿದೆ. ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮತ್ತು DKMS ಅಂತ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಈ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿನೇ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡೋನರ್ ಹುಡುಕೋದು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಡೋನರ್ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ ಆ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದರದ್ದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡೋನರ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಕೋಟಿ ಜನ ಇರೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ DKMS ಅಂತ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 1% ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಡೋನರ್ ಸಿಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡೋನರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇದು ರಕ್ತ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್. ಒಂದು ಚೀಕ್ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಬಡ್ಸ್ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಬಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಚೀಕ್ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಯಾವ HLA ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲೋಟೈಪ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ನಾವು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಥರ HLA ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲೋಟೈಪ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಡೋನರ್ ಆಗಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬಹುದು. ಲುಕೀಮಿಯಾ, ಎಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅನೀಮಿಯಾ, ಥ್ಯಾಲಸೀಮಿಯಾ, ಸಿಕಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅನೀಮಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಕಾಯಿಲೆದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗೋದು ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ, ಅವರು ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡೋನರ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ನವಜಾತ ಶಿಶುವಿಂದ ಟು 60-65 ಫಿಟ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಏಜ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ಫಿಟ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸರ್, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ಮದರ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅವ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಾಡೋ ಥರ. ಸೊ ಈ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಂಡಕೋಶ, ಅದು ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಂದು ಮಾತೃ ಕೋಶ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ಈ ಕೆಂಪು ರಕ್ತ, ಬಿಳಿ ರಕ್ತ, ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಲೆಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್, ಇದು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಈ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಇದ್ರೇನೆ ಕೆಂಪು, ಬಿಳಿ, ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಲೆಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕೋಶಕ್ಕೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುವಾಗ, ರಕ್ತಹೀನತೆ ಇರುವಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕೆಂಪು ರಕ್ತ ಇಲ್ಲಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಸ್ತಾಗೋದು, ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗೋದು, ಶ್ವೇತಕೋಶ ಇಲ್ಲಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬರೋದು. ಇದು ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ನಮಗೆ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಕೊಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 70% ಡೆಫಿಸಿಟ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ ನಾನು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ನೋಡುವಾಗ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 70% ಡೆಫಿಸಿಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ವೇಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಇರೋದು ನಾವು ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ತರ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ. ಯಾರೋ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಹುಡುಕ್ಬೇಕು, ಕಷ್ಟಪಡಬೇಕು. ಡೋನರ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ತರಿಸ್ತೀರಾ, ಅವ್ರು ಡೋನರ್ ಇಂದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ತಗೋತಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ತರ ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಡೋನರ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ ನೀವೇ ನಿಮ್ ಡೋನರ್ ತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅದೇ ಬೇಕಿರೋದು, ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಹಾನಿನೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ರೀಜನರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಿಕ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ.
From different places, from different families that are connected by something bigger than all of us here. Want to call it science, fate, magic, whatever you want to call it. But now we have come to the heart of the event, what we like to call the magical moment. Ladies and gentlemen, in the world of stem cell donation, donors and patients often remain anonymous. They never know each other. They are like two ships passing each other in the night, connected only by a life-saving gift. Yesterday, something extraordinary happened. Something special happened. This anonymity ended for Swati and for Anandu. The warrior finally met his superhero. Think about it. What would you say to the person who saved your life? And what does it feel like to know that your DNA is literally keeping someone else alive? Well, we captured that exact moment they met for the first time. The moment where all those years of pain, treatment, curiosity, nervousness, all of it made sense. And I invite all of you to share in this magic moment. Take a look. Please help me in giving a massive round of applause, and let's welcome Anandu and his mother Nisha to the stage. Please join us on stage. You know, looking at your son today, looking at Anandu, he's healthy, he's smiling. And you've met the woman that made this all possible. You met her yesterday.
Donor Swadhina Kandappa Bhayankara Sandoshayi. ജീവിതത്തിൽ സ്വാധീനം കാണണമെന്ന് ഒരുപാട് ആഗ്രഹിച്ചിരുന്നു. സാധിച്ചു തന്ന DKMSന് ഹാർട്ട്ലി നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. പിന്നെ കൂടാതെ സ്വാതി കാരണം എൻ്റെ മോൻ ഇന്ന് സുഖമായിട്ട് സന്തോഷമായിട്ട് ജീവിക്കുന്നു. പിന്നെ അവൻ്റെ ഒരുപാട് ആംബിഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട് അവൻ ലൈഫിന്. അതെല്ലാം സാധിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ സ്വാതി കാരണം കഴിഞ്ഞതിൽ ഞാൻ ജീവിതകാലം മുഴുവൻ സ്വാതിയെ ഓർക്കും. പ്രൗഡ് ഓഫ് സ്വാതി.
സ്വാതി കാരണം എനിക്കൊരു സെക്കൻഡ് ചാൻസ് കിട്ടിയത്. സോ ഞാനൊരു ബിഗ് താങ്ക്സ് പറയുന്നുണ്ട് സ്വാതിനോട്.
The gift of life, a DKMS registered stem cell donor and a true hero, Swati. Please join me up on stage. Thank you for being here with us, Swati. You know, I've spent many years talking to different people, interviewing different people, but the pride and respect that I think this room has for you is something else. You are truly a hero. So as we welcome you, I have to ask, you know, how are you feeling in this moment right now?
Seeing him, looking at him healthy, surrounded by his loved ones and following his passion, his ambition makes me very happy. All I want is him to have a very good life. Just he should have everything in the world, like, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, the world works in mysterious ways. Where life takes you, no one really knows. And I've heard some wonderful news about you. You recently became a mother yourself. And I see that your little one is here and your husband is back there as well recording this moment. It's like life has come full circle for you. So now that you have brought in new life into this world, how has it changed your perspective on everything?
Now I know, like, the value of life, about humanity, you know. When I realized that I have been identified as a potential donor and I could actually donate, I felt strong sense of responsibility and gratitude. I realized that I should do it because this is nothing in front of what the patient is going through or they are suffering, right? You can have like a minor inconvenience, but that would save someone's life. I would tell everyone, please register. It's a very simple process. You have to give your swab sample, that's it. Just by registering it, it will give hope to the patient and their family. The second step would be, if you are identified as a match, then please donate. Like, the DKMS team will take care whether you are healthy or not. They'll have a health checkup done. Then only they'll proceed to the next things. So no need to worry. And it won't affect anything on your after health. So you'll be all right just within 2 days. So I've recovered only 1 or 2 days. So nothing to worry. It will not have any effect long term on your fertility also. There's no issue. All women can donate. No issue. And the DKMS team, when they do the health checkup, they'll tell like if there is any issue. It's not at all a problem. So I strongly tell everyone, please do this. It's just a small step which could give someone second chance in life. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And I think I can speak for everyone. I say, your child is going to be so proud of you when he or she knows exactly what you've done. So good job. Well done. You know, can you... Yes, go ahead. You know, you have your reasons for what you did. But can you tell us a little bit about what originally inspired you to join the DKMS registry? And was it a difficult decision?
Not at all, actually. So I donate blood every year. So that time, it was in my office. So the blood donation camp was held by the DKMS team. So when I went there, so they were talking about this this stem cell donation. Me and my friends, we went curious, like, what is this? Then they explained everything, and it amazed me, like, how just a small swab collection could save someone's life if they've been identified as a match. That time I registered, and it really motivated me.
And now here you are motivating so many more. So brave, and for being here with us, an inspiration to all of us. A big round of applause for Swati. Now to commemorate this beautiful bond between Swati and Anandu, I'd like to invite Mr. Patrick Paul to come up on stage and of course present a token of appreciation to our donor Swati, if you could help us do that. And Dr. Govind, I would actually like to call you as well to present a token to our survivor Anandu. Anandu, can I get you on stage as well? And this is definitely a moment. somewhere in the world. Now for our friends from the media, thank you for being patient with us and for being here with us today. We know you have a lot of questions, which is why I would like to call upon our esteemed speakers one more time, Doctor and Mr. Patrick, if you can come back up on stage. The media will definitely have some questions, so if I could request you to both come back.
Depends on what kind of transplant. So this type of transplant, you need somebody else's marrow. There are some transplants where you need your own marrow. So either which way, it takes a month for the transplant complete. It's not a surgical procedure. There is no surgery involved. It's a medical procedure. Okay, so an autologous transplant takes a month. Allo takes a month and a few days, maybe 1.5-ish. But with autologous, I'm just over after that. In an allogenic transplant, I need to keep seeing the patient for the next 6 months every week, next 3 months or 6 months. So in entirety, you will be in hospital for a month and 15-20 days. And after that, you will keep coming for 3 months to OPD for visits. For a transplant to occur, you need a match. Without that, there is no transplant, even if you have money and you have a patient, right? We don't find matches. That's the truth of India. And the Indian scenario is that we don't have any large families anymore. You don't have a lot of siblings. The chance of you finding a match among your brothers and sisters is very high. So if there are 4 of you, there's a 25% chance that you will find a full match. We want full match. We don't want a match. Of course, we'll take a match for no match. But a full match is a full match. It is really shameful, like I said, that we are underrepresented as bone marrow transplant donors. We are 1 billion people plus. Tomorrow we can have 1 billion donor samples if everybody just gets themselves registered. They've got such a beautiful system. They'll mail the swab to you. You just swab it, send it back to them. It's free. There's nothing you need to do. Again, if you get cold feet, you can sit and talk about so many things with the expert. No match, no transplant. We don't get matches.
What is the total registration individual lab?
Registrations?
The DKMS has more than 250,000 donors who are registered with in India. But I can tell you that in total, the probability to find a match is less than 30% in India for a patient. So 70%. Now I'm talking about it from science perspective. Less than 30% of all patients will find a perfect match, while the probability in Germany is 80%. And there's one more aspect. Even when you're finding the perfect match, the donor has to agree also to donate. And in DKMS, only 40% of the donors are agreeing to donate afterwards.
This is the world's largest bone marrow registry. All the other registries have lesser number of samples. Lesser samples, lesser chance. How do you delete blood cancer? It's an altruistic idea. Sometimes you try to go for the moon and you might not jump and get there, but doesn't stop you from trying it. Because there are always patients like this who need your help. If it's difficult and we stop doing it, to be honest, acute leukemia or aplastic is the worst disease you can be diagnosed with. Because now you know you're going to die in 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. Every minute becomes more difficult because now there's a timing on you, your problems look less ordinary once you really know that you got 20 minutes to live. You can't delete cancer. As long as we're alive and we're aging and you don't die of normal causes early in life like heart attacks, which we stent and get away with, older people, older machines break down. It's a cell injury. Your DNA doesn't heal as well as at 65 as it does at 20. As we get older, cancers are gonna be there, right? You cannot cure all cancers all the time. But what you can do is you can get ahead of it. If you come in early, maybe you get a cure. Just like that, if a leukemia is diagnosed right, which means a quick bone marrow. A bone marrow can take forever in a rural tier 2, tier 3 setup. They might not even be adequate. They might not even take all the samples necessary to make a diagnosis. Every marrow is not a marrow. Every cricketer is not Sachin Tendulkar. You need so many things to go right. This attempt is to make a process which gives you the right diagnosis early. It gives you a donor when you don't have one. And it gets everybody excited about doing a bigger part than their own whole worth. Some of your parts, when together additively, you can do great things. Now, so any of you, it really doesn't matter. At the end of this conference, okay, badhiya. Unless you're the victim, the problem doesn't sound right. Delhi's pollution doesn't bother you because you're sitting in Bangalore, right? Let's be real. When you put yourself in the feet of other people, in the shoes of other people, you really realize that, I'm going to be dead. I have no money. My family is going to be on the streets. And just like that, about 9 out of 10 people died of aplastic anemia, probably when he was diagnosed in 2022, right? Death is real. Finances, the idea of deleting blood cancer is a larger altruistic idea where there is hope and we are trying against a difficult opponent which wants to live just as much. It's smart, it'll keep changing. Rather than defeat, the idea is to have a kind of a platform where you can actually find the right domain experts, the right diagnosis, the right donor, and now that they've ventured into a transplant center, which is the next thing, who's going to pay for this, right? Because a transplant is very costly. An allogenic transplant can go up to 28 to 30 lakhs, depending on which type of transplant you want. Clearly, it's outside the purview of most of us. When a center is trying to bring all these difficult intangibles together, we hope we can beat blood cancer sooner or later. But at least you can try to put up a strong opposition when the odds are really low and the chance of victory is very dismal. Now, that's a tough task, and you need to celebrate these people who don't come into the foreground at all. Like Patrick at least gets the mic. There's so many lovely people sitting there whom I know personally, whom you won't even know, who run these codes, who make sure everything is HIPAA compliant, safety and data is preserved. All these things matter. That's the way DKMS is looking at it. It's a tough call to say we delete blood cancer, but I'm proud of it. And I'm so happy that we put it out there, that we try hard. Now that's from a clinical perspective. I'll have Patrick speak to you from the other perspective.
Actually, Dr. Govind mentioned it very well. I would like to just summarize it. Currently, we see here three aspects in India. And not only in India, actually global, but in India, we also following all three aspects. And one is we have to find more donors to offer more transplantations. We need more donors to do more transplantations. The second is, in India, we have a gap, a financial gap, and we have to try to help here to support. This doesn't mean that we are not able to do this directly support only. We need also the government to do this. I see in the last years, I saw a lot of progress here from states with specific chief minister funds and so on. And there's a third one, which is research, better diagnostics. And here we have a lab also, which we hope we can offer such kind of research and diagnostic programs in the future.
Thank you.
First, you have to be 18. The age limit for an unrelated donor is 55. This depends on the disease of the patient. When you want to have a very clear medical answer, I can give a relative answer. Leukemia is a very tough disease, and depending on the preconditions, what kind of leukemia it is, it depends also on what age. Leukemia is normally split in two parts. One, a lot of children suffering it, and then later on, above 50, 55 people, the probability is increasing that you're suffering leukemia. Depending on what kind of leukemia it is, it goes down to 50%, less than 50%. But we have other blood disorders like aplastic anemia, like thalassemia. Thalassemia, for example, a child which is suffering on thalassemia and it's below 7, the probability is more than 90%. But maybe Dr. Govind.
No, I don't disagree. So, in a very bad leukemia, which is generally all that I do, the chance of doing all this and getting a good outcome is about 30%. So, all this for 30%. So, when we say aplastic, we jump for it. Because aplastic is different. If you transplant, it's a full batch. Outcome is curative. So different diseases have different outcomes depending on the severity, and all leukemias are not the same, all aplastics are not the same. What he has is a very severe aplastic anemia. There are different gradations of that. Different diseases, different outcomes. No donor, no outcome. There's not a problem there. For the most part, Indian patients do not have any representation in the insurance, largely de novo. Government funding generally helps below poverty line patients from the CM and the governmental funds. Now they're making kind of a corpus for these rarer diseases which are impactful, because see, the amount of money you spend on one leukemia for the entire transplant, you could save a lot of infant mortality. You could put that money in the PHC, which could stop communicable diseases which will have a much larger impact. So these are niche diseases, these are sick diseases, it require a lot of time, and you need a very specialized team to do this. So putting all the finances together sometimes is not good ROC. It's not the right thing for them to put in terms of statistics. Insurance, private, is extremely useful in scenarios like this, and public funding does help. There are also platforms where you can hope that people will donate if you can't find enough. There are dime a dozen like that. Funding comes from people in such positions of these companies which understand what the corporate social responsibility is.
I see some progress here. 5 years ago, it was very difficult to find an insurance company who is covering actual transplantation. So the process of transplantation, chemotherapy was covered, but not transplantation as such. Nowadays, insurances are covering this aspect as well.
And slowly over the last 5 years, I can see what impact the employee-related organizations and try and make them understand that nothing's going to happen to you. For the most part, everybody enthusiastically gives the first cheek swab. But if you're above 18, then it becomes easier to take a decision. When you're taking children who are not majors from colleges, and minors who still need their parents' endorsement to come on board, sometimes you get an attrition. So you're going to try all areas where you can get anybody to come and donate. They have great programs on how they go about that. I'm sure Patrick will be able to speak to you. But they do engage with domain experts to go and speak to you in a very layman's language about what is it and what it is not. Because they think it's very complicated. And that myth is what they're busting it. That the donor is safe. Nothing's going to happen to. That is at the crux of this. Whole thing is, why don't you give blood? These kind of ideas have to be, myth busted. So I think they're doing a very good job at working on that. The problem here is the donor doesn't want to be a donor until somebody in his family had cancer. So you don't understand that whole impact. You've got that many people. That's what they're working at, and probably Patrick will tell you better in terms of what their programs.
In general, we have a lot of awareness programs. I mean, you can speak to my head of department here. To create awareness pan-India is nearly impossible, so we have to focus. I can just count 2 programs. We had 1 in a million program. Just recently we had a collaboration with the travel police here in Bangalore, which we had a press conference as well and so on. So this is just examples, but today I would say also, you are here to create awareness. I have to ask the journalists who are able to reach so many people, right? You are the voice here for us to create more awareness.
The impact you can have in vernacular, for example, when you put this out in Kannada in a very simple manner, those 2 things, if you can get there, this is what they want to know. And if you can keep beating that down, over time you will see a change. I think you will see a tectonic shift in the number of Indian donor registry approval numbers. I hope that happens. How many of you want to be stem cell donors? Now after this, you're doing a very poor job. Right? Actually, the 3 people who put their hands up. No, the DKMS people don't raise their hands. No, really. So, what is the barrier to being a donor? What do you think will go wrong? What are you most scared of? You'll die during what would happen? Your blood won't come back? Like, there must be, if I can take any question on that, I think that would be far more impactful than having any of this talk. What do you think will go wrong when you give blood or be a stem cell donor? We're not going into a bone marrow and pulling it out. It's just giving blood. A needle will go in, you'll have to take a couple of injections before that, and tada, over. 4 hours you give me. Best still, if you want to keep your stem cell for later use for yourself also, we can work on that, but not on the DKMS platform. Right? So here it is purely altruistic. Many people do that. For example, there's a CEO of an American company whose name I won't take, but he uses MSCs to keep them, so true life is sitting there. As long as that is working, everything will work. And you do not give importance to blood as an organ, because it's renewable. So it's not put under the gamut of the law of a liver or a kidney transplantation as well. You don't need somebody to die here to pick up his liver and put it somewhere. As long as it renews, things are okay. When the blood shuts off, none of your organs will work. And I didn't get into this at that point in time. When there is no WBC, Shweta-kosha, infections, you will die of an ordinary cough. You will die of it. So don't take for granted what your blood is doing every day. It is cleaning things up every second. Why do you need to do a blood test for appendicitis? The first thing you have a problem for headache, everybody's taking blood, right? So blood is representative of everything that runs in your body. Blood test. Please try to understand. As long as your blood works, everything works. So please be donors. Your blood comes back any which way. You're not doing nothing about it.
And maybe to add, people are always asking why you don't have a stem cell bank. You can store them and so on. And actually, this is very expensive and it's not efficient. You know what is the best storage for stem cells? It's in your body, exactly. And that's very simple. You will keep it very safe. You may know that there are stem cell banks in India and people paying to save their own stem cells there and whatever. But the impact of this is neglectable for the health. To donate stem cells is not only an altruistic move, it's also a move to help yourself, honestly. Because when, in general, I'm not talking about DKMS, in general more people would go this way, then everyone, including you then, may get help.
How many people have bagged their child's umbilical cord? Anyone here? So that's basically a representation of the microcosm of India, that is. We don't give. But when we want, we want. When you need blood, you go and make a fight at the blood bank. Why don't you have blood? हम घर से तोड़ के लाते हैं. उगा रहे हैं हम लोग इसे पेड़ से. So unless somebody gives, you're not going to get any. So when you don't give blood, Why will you get stem cells? We're not worth it then, aren't we? That's basically it. So unless we change our entire focus beyond yourself, and Swati probably would be the right person to give you that perspective of how she is impacted. It's not just Anandu, it's that entire 6 people in her family. You know, she saved a family. It could be yours. They didn't know that this is going to happen to. A simple COVID vaccine is what you can attribute it to. It could be COVID itself. Some people get it because they went to a Pani Puri store and had this hepatitis A ho gaya, gone. Life is just that. So let's not be too proud about where we're sitting with it. Think of your trivial problem as very trivial, because when this comes, everything changes.
The body is replacing stem cells all the time. So when you're removing the stem cells, it takes 2 weeks, a week, 1-2 weeks by donation. No, that's what we.
Yeah, the donor is absolutely safe. Okay, there are some injections we use to spill the stem cell from the bone marrow into the blood. These things are not floating in the blood, they're all happily inside the bone marrow cavity. That thing is inside you, same thing, just like chicken. You need to move that cell from inside the bone cavity into the blood. We use certain injections, they come out. We collect it through a simple blood donation line, nothing big there. So beyond the minimal discomfort of the needle, and sometimes people can have some body pain because of this injection. Very, very rarely, in my lifetime I've seen one happen, is something called a splenic rupture. Doesn't happen. Far more people die in Bangalore this minute from road traffic accident than splenic rupture from stem cell collection. So realistically, nothing happens. So you've got to take this out of your head. The donor is safe, nothing happens to the donor. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this.
Do have an opportunity for you to speak one-on-one to Swati or Anandu if they're comfortable, and our DKMS team will be happy to make that happen for you before lunch. And for everyone else, as we wrap up the formal part of our afternoon,